Hello, good evening. It's Dr. Chudi Ufundu of Snowspirations Global Health Solutions. I hope you're having a wonderful, restful Tuesday. Today is another episode of our Open Clinic with Dr. Chudi. And today's topic is one of those topics you don't want to miss. We all want to look healthy. We all have that particular body weight we are struggling with to drop. You've tried a couple of things and sometimes it will work and sometimes it will fail. And you've been wondering, is there any role eating and not eating can play in regards to your body weight? And I don't know if you're conversant with fasting as a method of keeping a healthy body weight. Now, fasting over time can be used to have sustainable, healthy body weight if practiced properly. So, this evening, we're going to look at 1 meal a day diet. 1 meal a day diet. It's called Omad. Now, it's important to understand this particular meal pattern. Unfortunately, it's not for everybody. So there are some group of people that cannot use this particular fasting method in regards to losing body weight. Very important. Now we are also going to see if there is any effect of this 1 meal a day in your fertility. Remember that our community is predominantly fertility-based community. So there are so many of our members who are believing God to become parents, mothers, fathers, grandmothers, grandfathers in 2022. Now the question is, can eating 1 meal a day be safe? Can it be unsafe? Is it healthy? Is it unhealthy? Can it affect your general health? Can it affect your fertility? It's still an evolving area of medical practice. There are still so many researches we need to conduct to know exactly the effect of 1 meal a day. But it's something that is trending lately. So I'm going to sit back and allow you to join. Remember, if today is the first day of attending my open clinic in YouTube, I come live every Tuesday and Saturdays. Tuesdays about this time. Then Saturdays I come in a little bit early. So Saturday is 12 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Nigerian time. Then on Tuesdays, just after my job, I show up and I spend about 30 minutes. So we're gonna have fun. Please keep all your questions ready. After my presentation, you will have an opportunity to ask your questions. If today is the first day of attending and you have not subscribed, this is a very good opportunity for you to subscribe. And please, when you're done subscribing, hit that like button. It's very important for the growth of the community. Also, spread the good news. There are so many helpful videos in our channel, in our community, that will make your life to be better. So let's get started. Remember, we are talking about Omad, 1 meal a day diet. And it's something we need to look into critically to see if there is anything that might be helpful, anything that can help us to, see if it's something we can actually promote. Now, you need to understand the Omad diet properly. So it's 1 meal a day. And this diet over time, it claims to help you to lose body weight, especially the fats. So it helps to burn the fats. It's a modified kind of intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting is also a very popular method of weight loss and weight sustainability. In intermittent fasting, there's a particular period of time within 24 hours you're not supposed to eat. The popular one is 16 to 8. So 16 hours of long fasting, then 8 hours period of eating. This Omad diet is a modified intermittent fasting method. So if you've tried intermittent fasting in the past and it worked for you, like I'm currently doing intermittent fasting, I've been doing it, it works for me, and I've been trying to be more consistent. So how I practice my own intermittent fasting might not be how you practice your own intermittent fasting. By default, everybody fasts. When you are sleeping, you are by default fasting. But in intermittent fasting, you're pretty much skipping one meal. Like my method of intermittent fasting is to avoid eating anything until 1 o'clock. Then I open my window of eating. I eat around 1. Then I'll probably eat around 4. Then my last meal will be before 8 p.m. Then from 8 p.m. to another 1 p.m., I won't have anything in my system. It helps the body to keep fit. So Omad is an example of modified intermittent fasting. So in Omad, instead of having 16 hours of fasting, you actually have 23 hours of fasting. So it's a restrictive diet, it's a restrictive intermittent fasting because 24 hours of the day, you will not eat for the 23 hours. You only eat within 1 hour window. It's not easy. It's not something everybody can practice. And like I mentioned, there are some people that cannot practice this. There are some people that ultimately cannot afford to practice OMAD. Okay, so you alternate between the periods you're not eating, which is 23 hours. Then within 1 hour window, you condense all the food you have to eat. It's very strict, very, very strict. So generally speaking, it's an extreme version of fasting. Remember that fasting and starvation are not the same. You have to understand this. Some people go out there fasting and some people go out there starving. Fasting is not starving. Fasting means you've condensed your eating period, then you have a period you don't eat anything. Starving means you are completely depriving yourself of what your body needs. So when you are fasting, when you start eating, you have to make efforts to eat the right kind of food. Now, OMAD might not be a safe diet for you if it's not done correctly. But if it's done correctly, by making sure you acquire the real calories and nutrition when you're eating, it can really, really help you. So how does it work? Generally, how does our body handle food? Let's use, for example, carbohydrates. When you eat fufu, when you eat amala, when you eat rice, what happens to that amala? What happens to that fufu? So your amala or fufu is a type of carbohydrates. So for all carbohydrates you eat, they will be broken down into simple sugar. So when we talk about sugar, sugar is not that white substance you see out there, you put in your tea, you put in your akamu and all that. Sugar is the basic unit of carbohydrates. And this is where you derive all your energy. So when you eat carbohydrates and we break down the sugar will help our body to function properly. Now, there's a hormone I want you to pay attention to. It's called insulin. So when you have a lot of sugar in your body from eating a lot of carbohydrates, the level of insulin will go up. So what does insulin do? Insulin will collect all those other sugar in your blood and convert them into fats. So the role of insulin is to mop up sugar in the peripheral circulation in your blood and put them in fat. It stores the sugar in the fats. This is how people accumulate body weight. Now, the thinking is when you don't eat food over a long period of time, the level of insulin you will have will be reduced. So the more insulin you have, the more likelihood you're going to have problems with your body weight, the more likelihood you're going to have insulin insensitivity, because the role of insulin is to mop up the sugar and put them into fat cells, right? Now, when you don't eat for extended period of time, your body will do what? Your body will produce less insulin. So in a healthy state, we want less. We don't want more insulin. Insulin is a helpful servant, but when you produce insulin on a very long-term basis, on a larger level, it becomes unhealthy. So when you are not eating, you are doing what? You are producing less insulin. Now remember that your cells, which is actually where some of the extra sugars will be stored in form of energy. So the energy I'm using to teach you guys is based on the food I ate, which got converted to sugar. Then a couple of them are stored in the fats. So when your fat cells are deprived of the normal sugar they normally use, they will start releasing the sugar stored inside there. So the key thinking in long intermittent fasting, which is practically what Omad is all about, is to convert the sugar and the energy stored in the fat cells to compensate when the body lacks calorie, when the body lacks sugar. The body is said to be in a state of hypoglycemia. You have to have sugar. So some people will be like, oh, avoid sugar, avoid this. Good, you have to avoid all those, raw sugar, but your body still needs sugar to function. If you are hypoglycemic, that means if you don't have enough sugar in your body, you cannot function. You can practically go into shock and you can die. So for you to actually monitor and make your body to produce less insulin, you would have avoided food for a long time. So the thinking is, if you are doing the OMAD, you are producing less insulin. The less insulin you're producing, the more you're converting the fats stored in your body to energy. So by default, people that fast for a longer period, people that do intermittent fasting and OMAD will over time lose a lot of body weight, especially the fats. So it works. The question is the sustainability. Like any other kind of intermittent fasting has a lot of types, but the one that works for me is 16 hours of fasting and 8 hours of eating. Some people can fast every other day. Some people can fast every other 2 days. So there are different varieties of intermittent fasting, but intermittent fasting is something that works. You can actually incorporate it into your lifestyle and it will be your plus. So the key word is when you eat in your more traditional pattern, your energy comes from your food. So the more food you're eating, the more you're breaking the body, and the more you're breaking the carbohydrate into sugar, and the more your insulin level is going up. This is the problem that people have diabetes have. If you have a lot of insulin, over time, they will become what? Resistant. So they will not perform their role, and you have a lot of peripheral blood sugar, then you begin to have problems. There are two types of diabetes. There's a type of diabetes that you're completely not producing insulin. Then there's a type of diabetes you have insulin, but they are insensitive. So you need to understand this. When you understand this mechanism, then you will understand if OMAD might be good for you. Now, like I said, there are a couple of pros. So, it's promising. A lot of people are still researching on it. It's not the magic bullet, but it can help you lose body weight. But the problem in losing body weight is not losing. The problem is sustainable loss. When you lose 40 pounds in January, are you going to keep those 40 pounds in February? Or are you going to add another 60 pounds? So the problem is not weight loss. The problem is what happens months down the lane. 1 year afterwards. If you lost 60 pounds in 2020, but you gained 80 pounds in 2021, then you've wasted your time. So it will help you to burn fats, but we also checked some trend. So we've tried combining and comparing intermittent fasting in its strictest sense and OMAD. Then we discovered that both of them have common denominator. However, this is very funny. People that practice intermittent fasting have a better outlook in regards to weight loss and sustaining the weight they've lost. So intermittent fasting that is not OMAD works better compared to OMAD. So people that practice 8 hours of eating, 16 hours of fasting can have a better outcome compared to people that only eat one meal. Your intermittent fasting simply means skipping one meal. So you can skip your breakfast, or you can skip your lunch, or you can skip your dinner. Now, I want to correct an impression. Growing up, we were made to believe that you have to eat your breakfast, you have to eat your lunch, you have to eat your dinner. It's not true. Eating is not structured. You only eat when you're in need of eating. So it's not a must to eat your breakfast. It's not a must to eat your lunch. It's not a must to eat your dinner. That's not how it works. But that's how we were, trained growing up. But currently, what we know, your breakfast can be anytime. Your dinner can be anytime. And if you're practicing any of the things I'm mentioning, you are skipping a meal. So your intermittent fasting simply means you're not eating breakfast. So if prior to now you don't normally eat breakfast and you're very disciplined about it, some people will pretend they're not eating breakfast, but they're taking a lot of coffee with a lot of cream, with a lot of sugar, with a lot of milk. When you're doing that, you've already started eating. If you have to take your coffee, take it bland. But personally, I tried taking coffee when I'm not supposed to be eating, and it didn't really help me much. So what did I do? I stopped taking coffee completely. Now I only take tea, and some days I don't take anything until 1. You will not die. You will still be around. Okay. So the problem is not we're not out here to eat. We are here to eat to live, not living to eat. There are two differences: eating to live and living to eat. We're not living to eat. We are eating to live. So when people go through OMAD, over time, we discover they can lose about 7 to 11 pounds over 10 weeks. And when you do this, it can improve your metabolism. People that have what we call pre-diabetes. So pre-diabetes means you are not diabetic yet. You are warming up to become diabetic. We discover that people that strictly control their body weight through what they eat, through exercise, can reverse the pre-diabetes. So instead of becoming diabetic, you discover you're no longer going to be diabetic. Unfortunately, when you develop diabetes, it's something you have to live with for the rest of your life. It's not cured. You just have to adapt to what you need to do. So it's worth noting that people that tried Omad Diet might have different results. Okay, now, what are the cons? What are the likely things that will happen when you go on Omad Diet? Number one, you will feel more alert. There's a particular chemical called orexin A. So when you fast during daylight hours means when you fast from morning before nightfall, you will release a lot of this chemical called orexin A. Orexin A will make you to be more alert. So I believe that's what happened when we were in medical school, because we used to do what we call TDB. So we will read throughout the whole day. And if you have an exam the following day, even if it's just 30 minutes sleep that you will get, when you go to exam hall, you're very alert. I have never seen any medical student that fell asleep during their professional exam, who are very, very much alert. I believe this is, because of your orexin. So when you fast and when you keep up, and some people use a lot of stimulants, you discover you're more alert. But please be careful. There are no specific, gold standard when you're practicing this. People practice it based on how their body feels. Eating in the morning and fasting overnight can help you lose body weight by default. Remember that everybody fasts. If you're someone that goes to sleep early, you will notice that you won't be adding a lot of body weight. Let me give you an example. Not like me, I have to stay up most nights to catch up with my consultations and stuff. But if you form the habit of sleeping by 9 p.m. and you wake up by 6 and it's your standard, when you are sleeping, you are not eating. But when you stay up, the possibility you will snap by 10, 11, 12 is very high. Any food you're eating late in the night is not going to digest properly. The metabolism, your body is already slowing down. So it's not the best time to eat food. Okay, so people that fast overnight and eat a larger meal in the morning tend to lose more weight. So your intermittent fasting or your OMAD might just be breakfast. So you can just eat only breakfast, or you can just eat only lunch, or you can just eat only dinner. But here's the deal. If you're a working person, if you're a very active person, depending on what you do during the day, you need to be careful, because there are certain things you need to have some energy. There are certain things you need to have some sugar in your body. Let me give you an example. If you work in a very hot environment and you do a lot of thinking, if you don't have any energy in your body, you might be confused. Hypoglycemia can make you to go into shock. You might be confused. Now, the good thing about everything I'm telling you guys, whichever one you prefer, stay hydrated. So water contains no calorie. So whether you're doing OMAD, whether you're doing intermittent fasting, make sure you sip your water. Remember, OMAD is a restrictive eating, okay? You make sure you don't overeat or overindulge when you start eating. People tend to eat the things they miss when they were fasting, and most times they're unhealthy things. So you will be deceiving yourself once your fasting window ends. You begin to eat your cake, you begin to eat your ice cream, you begin to eat your pizza. So all those things you missed when you were fasting, you will now start binging on them. you are not going to succeed. You are only shooting yourself in the leg. So some people may also struggle to stay fit the entire day based on how your body functions. Some people will start feeling very uncomfortable, very irritable, jumpy, and all over the place. So people react to OMAD or intermittent fasting differently. Now we're going to talk about the people that should not practice this. Very important to me. If you are pregnant, whether it first trimester, second trimester, third trimester, 1 meal a day is not for you. So pregnant women are exempted from all forms of fasting. Some people might be Muslim, some people might be Christian, and in your religion, you guys might be fasting for whatever purposes. Once you are pregnant, you are not supposed to fast any type of fasting. Now, if you are younger than 18, you are also not supposed to do what? To fast. If you have eating disorder, there are two important eating disorders: anorexia nervosa and bulimia. Some kids, some youth, some teenagers might have this problem. If you find yourself in this category, you are not supposed to practice Omad diet. Now, there are some medications that before you take them, you have to eat. If you're going to take any medication called NSAIDs, like your ibuprofen, your Advil, or you're taking aspirin, or you're taking steroids, or you're taking a particular drug we call allopurinol, you must eat. So those medications you have to take after eating. If you are on any medication that will help you to be healthy, OMAD is not for you. This is why you need to do what? Touch base with your doctor. Now, if you've already developed diabetes, so you're living with diabetes and you are on insulin, you are not supposed to take this. Do you know why? Because when you're taking insulin, that's artificial insulin, which can have a lot of interactions with the original insulin you have in your body, if at all you're producing that. So people that are already diabetic are not supposed to participate in this. Do you know why? When you are diabetic, you are not supposed to fast. You are supposed to eat regular healthy meal throughout the day. If your parents are diabetic, go and watch the instructions we give them. We ask them to be eating regularly, but healthy, nutritious, regular food. You are not supposed to enter a long period without eating when you have diabetes, because your blood sugar can go so low. And when it's coming up, it can go so high. So some people can have hyperglycemia. Some people can have what we call shock. Some people can go into coma. So you are not supposed to have a long period where you don't have food in your body. Now, some people also have gastrointestinal problems, irritable bowel syndrome, bloating, stomach upset. You are not supposed to practice this. So careful planning is key. Please, if you are planning to try this, make sure you touch base with your doctor. If you are going to attempt this, it's important you make sure you are getting the best balanced, nutritious diet when you eat. Very, very important. You cannot harm yourself when you're trying to lose body weight. So very important. Fasting alone will not be beneficial to you if you are not eating right. When you are doing this, then by default, you're starving. Remember that fasting and starving are not the same. So always speak with your doctor before starting any diet, especially this OMAD. Now, what are the specific potential dangers of eating 1 meal a day? Some of you might feel like vomiting. Some of you might feel dizzy. Some of you will notice you're very irritable. You have constipation. You have low energy. You have dehydration. Some people will even notice diarrhea. So it depends on how your body works. So you can have any of this. So that's why you need to be what? Very careful. Touch base with your doctor. If your doctor gives you a clean bill, then you can go and practice it. If your doctor didn't give you a clean bill, then maintain your 30 minutes physical activity. Then watch what you eat, sleep, and avoid stress. Okay? So that's my presentation this evening. I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask your questions. So the clinic is open. I think I have about 6 minutes to provide you feedbacks. So please go ahead and start asking your questions. And hopefully I'm going to make my transcript available. So you take time and you read through Omad Diet. Remember that Omad Diet simply means 1 meal a day. Now, regarding fertility, what we know as fertility experts, When you have a healthy body weight, you are helping your body to function properly. So for a woman, for her to have a baby, if her body weight, if we use BMI to check, if her BMI is from 18.5 to 25.5, that's the regular normal BMI. You will notice you can easily ovulate. But once you begin to go above 25.5 and you're tending towards 30, that's where the problem starts. So by default, if you're believing God to be a mother, you want to be a father, and you're doing Omad or you're doing intermittent fasting, and your BMI is coming down, and you're still getting those nutritious stuff you're supposed to be getting from your food, then it will improve your fertility. But please remember, consult with your doctor. Your doctor will be the person that will tell you if you should proceed. So there are some people that might want to have babies. They might be diabetic, they might be hypertensive, they might have a couple of other things. So you are not supposed to embark on this by yourself. Make sure you run it by your doctor before you start. Okay? Please, if you have any questions, feel free to ask your questions. So the first question says, you've been trying to gain weight, but to no avail. Please, what's your advice? So here's the deal. I don't know why you're trying to gain weight. And people that are trying to gain weight do a lot of silly things. I remember growing up, people would take a Govin, they would take raw egg, they would take, Supradine. They would do so many things. You don't need to do that. People are wired differently. If God gave you a lean body, why do you want to mess about with your lean body? What you need to do, if you have a lean body, and in your own mind, you might think you have problem, just make sure you eat regular, balanced diets. Now, regardless of how your body feels, whether you're big, whether you're small, whether you're normal weight, everybody still needs to engage in 30 minutes exercise every single day. Anybody can have any problem. So people that don't have body weight can develop diabetes, they can have stroke, they can have hypertension, they can have anything. They can have cholesterol problem. So the fact you're looking at yourself, flat tummy, but you're eating all the wrong things out there, you are not helping yourself. So my sister, I'm not going to tell you to do this to gain body weight and stop, because I don't know why you're doing that. It's not healthy. Worst case scenario, go and see your doctor. But personally, I will not advise you to do that. Come and take some fats from me. I don't know who this person is, but look, be careful. Looks can be deceptive, okay? This is not the era of trying to live up to the Joneses, trying to be good for the social media. No, everybody needs to be careful. Remember, you are not living to eat. You are eating to live. Be careful. Okay, so don't go trying some nonsense people suggest, some herbs, imagine taking Supradine. Some people mix, I remember correctly what we normally do back then. They will put malts and raw egg and whatever, then you take Supradine. Like Supradine is supposed to be a multivitamin and all that. You can't do that again. You can't be in this era of knowledge and you're practicing that. It's very harmful. Okay? So don't do that to yourself. So long as you don't have any metabolic problems, so long as you don't have any medical issues, just make sure you maintain the body God gave you. The only people I will chip in one or few words are the people that have overweight or obesity. You need to come down. So long as you're not underweight. So my sister, listen to me carefully. So long as you are not underweight, if your BMI is below 18.5, you have a problem. The possibility you become pregnant is limited. Matter of fact, if you compare women that have underweight and women that have overweight or obesity, women that have underweight will find it more difficult to become pregnant compared to women that have overweight. Matter of fact, women that have overweight or women that have obesity can even have twins for some reasons. So it's more difficult to succeed in becoming pregnant when your BMI is low compared to high BMI or obesity. Okay? Please keep asking your question. I have just 1 more minute. 1 more minute, then we close the clinic. My next clinic will be on Saturday. Hopefully, you're going to be there. Now, please remember to subscribe. Remember to click the like button. Then remember to share the group to your friends. If you were not able to attend the live clinic, that's okay. You can watch at your own convenience. Then I will come back and I will attend to your questions. But please remember this: fasting works. Medically based fasting works. Intermittent fasting works. You can adopt it as a lifestyle. Look, my people, will be eating all the foods. Look, especially Nigerians, we have the best delicacies in the world. Be mindful. So it works if you make it to be habitual. Omad is still a newer concept. So if you have to practice 1 meal a day, don't just go and start it immediately. Try your body. Try intermittent fasting. Look at how your body responds. But importantly, run it by your doctor and make sure that your doctor approves. Someone is asking about BMI. So BMI, it's a measure we use in checking if you're underweight, if you're normal weight, if you're overweight, or if you're obese. So BMI stands for body mass index. We use your height and your body weight to calculate. So it's a measure that helps to show us if you need to be mindful of your body weight. So we have different categories. We have underweight, which is from 18.5 down. Then we have normal weight, which is 18.5 to 25.5. Then we have overweight, which is 25.5 to below 30. Then we have obesity, which is above 30. Okay? Very important. Correct. Intermittent fasting works. It worked for me, but you have to be disciplined. If I have to give you a couple of tips, let me give you a couple of tips before I go. When you wake up in the morning, discipline yourself. Remove your mind from eating. See, eating is more of choice. Trust me, eating is choice. Some people eat because they have to eat. But do this for me. If you are on intermittent fasting, then be disciplined. When you're not eating fast, be truthful to yourself. Okay? So avoid your coffee, avoid anything that will derail you completely. Stay on water. Make sure you are hydrated. Do not be dehydrated when you're fasting. When you do that, you're going to cause a lot of harm. Remember to take your multivitamins and all that. It helps. Okay? Now, when you start eating, be wise now. Still eat healthy. So when your window of eating opens, like when my window opens, if I start eating by 1, I still have to eat healthy. Then I can healthy snack around 4. Then when I come back, I eat only once around 7:30 or 8. Once it's 8, I try. My people, I'm still exposed to the same temptation you're exposed to when it comes to food. But this is where you also need to be disciplined. What you have in the house is what you eat if you want a snack. So if 1 a.m. or 11 p.m. I'm up, everybody is sleeping, maybe I just finished my consulting. If I open my fridge, if I'm tempted to see cake there, if my family left cake there and I'm the cake person, what will I eat? Cake. If they have ice cream at home, what will I eat? Ice cream. But if they have, snack, if they have banana, if they have apple, if they have, grapes, what will I eat? Grapes. If they have nuts, what will I eat? Nuts. So what you have in your food pantry is very important. Very, very important. Can eating fruits during the Omad period be okay? No. Fruits can also increase your blood sugar level. Fruits can also be a source of carbohydrates. When you are on Omad, be on Omad. The only thing you can take is water. When you are on intermittent fasting, anything you eat, apart from plain tea or in some cases coffee, it has calorie. Remember, the essence of fasting is to make sure you don't expose yourself to any food, any calorie within a specific period of time. So if you're on intermittent fasting, no fruits. Okay? All right. If we don't have any other question, then I'm going to take my leave. Thank you for coming. Keep a day with me on Saturday. We'll find another interesting topic and we'll keep learning. Now, remember, we have a special event on Sunday. We understand that how we start a new year is very important. We understand that so many people in our community are having infertility. There are so many beautiful ladies that had wanted to have their baby boys, baby girls, but for some reason, they are having challenges. You have an opportunity to attend a summit, male and female fertility summit. Come with your partner. Go and register. It's on Sunday, 9 p.m. Nigerian time. We have 3 panelists. Our guest presenter is coming from UK, a classmate, a subject matter specialist in gynecology. You don't want to miss this. So please make sure you register before the deadline. Now, there are a couple of other things you can benefit from if you're a member of Snowspirations. So you can afford to come in 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. If you're pregnant, then please don't joke with that pregnancy. I want a very good outcome in your pregnancy. So these are ways you can help each other. Okay, so don't be a member of my community and you're having health challenges and you're not seeking help. So thank you for coming this evening. And babe, thank you so much. That's my wife. She's always around to cheer me up. So thank you so much, my number one fan. So guys, please and please always remember, life is all about what you put in. Garbage in, garbage out. Gigo. When you put in good stuff, you will get good stuff. When you put in bad stuff, you will read bad stuff. So whatever enters your body must be edifying. Okay, so thank you so much for coming this evening. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow. If you're in my group, we have our community health clinic tomorrow. So make sure you attend. Then follow up with Keeping It Real with Dr. Ndiche on Thursday. Follow up with 40s Fridays. Saturday, you will see me again on YouTube. Sunday, my maternal and child health clinic. So the only day we can say, oh, we have a break is Monday. Okay, but whatever happens, thank you for coming this evening. God bless you and enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye for now.